It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Bryan College head volleyball coach, Coach Jessica Day. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Brandon?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you want to get started in coaching in college volleyball?
Well, honestly, I didn't think I was going to be a volleyball coach. I went to school actually to pursue physical therapy. And then the opportunity came open for me to become a volunteer assistant within this program, and then an assistant coach, and then a head coach after that. So really wasn't in my playing cards originally, but here I am. So
What was that experience like going to Bryan College and playing collegiate volleyball?
It was great, honestly. So I was born and raised in Honolulu, Hawaii, lived there my whole life up until college. During my college selection process, my mom told me that I had to leave the island. If I didn't like it after a year, I could always come back. And so naturally, me being me, I tried to find the furthest possible places. I knew I wanted to play volleyball. I knew I wanted to pursue physical therapy. And I knew I wanted a smaller school. I went to a private Christian school my whole life. So big state schools just weren't for me. And so I narrowed down my options, and Bryan was one of those options. Ended up taking a visit and I loved it. I love the small campus atmosphere. The people were so nice. And it really made my college experience, just being able to be a part of the team and the program here. And then also having like professors and staff be supportive. They knew me as, you know, Jessica Day or Jessica Kaya, and they came and watched me play volleyball and supported me, on the court, in the classroom, and they really helped me to be the best possible, not only person, but player and also student that I could be while I was here.
What was that feeling like getting to put on that uniform for them and representing them?
It meant a lot. Like I never, growing up, I always, thought I was going to play in college, but a lot of, young athletes don't get that opportunity. So I was very fortunate enough to, be healthy enough and be talented enough to be able to come to, Bryan and play for my 4 years. So really putting on that jersey for the first time was really cool. And, whenever you first go out and step foot on the court for your first game, you get all those nerves and those nerves ended pretty quickly for me as, it kind of eased me to kind of get into the game and, just have fun and go along with it. But it meant a lot. And it does mean a lot that, I'm still able to be a part of this program that I played for, many years ago. And it still means a lot for me today to be able to give back to, our program and our school.
What was that feeling like getting into coaching and first going to Georgia Northern to coach?
So that was a little different. So during, I guess, from the year that I graduated from Bryan, that following year, I got waitlisted for PT school. So during that time, I was a substitute teacher, and then I also was an assistant coach at Georgia Northwestern, and it was different in the sense that they were a junior college and they were just kind of getting started. Getting their feet off the ground. So we didn't really have many players. I think we had 7 players that year. So it was tough to kind of, do all the team things and make sure, we're running a good rotation. It was very hard for us to do that. So it kind of gave me a little bit of a taste of, college coaching. But I feel like once I came to Bryan and was, with our program under our coaching staff that next year, that's when I really started to grow as a coach.
What was that feeling like coming back to Bryan and getting to be a part of the coaching staff and first being a grad assistant?
Yeah, it was really fun. It was, not something that I wanted. Again, I was waitlisted for PT school, so I was kind of waiting to get in. And so I was like, well, I have some extra time. I'll come out and help and, see if anyone needs my help. And so, our coach at the time, he was very gracious in allowing me to come and hang out with them and, be a part of it, help them with whatever they needed on the day-to-day basis. But it was fun because some of those girls I actually played with, my senior year, they were freshmen. So it was good to come back and be able to see those girls and how much they've grown and continue to grow throughout that season.
What was that experience like for you, as you said, getting to coach senior, those freshmen that when you were a senior were freshmen?
Yeah, it was fun. Those little girls that came in when I was a senior as freshmen, they were babies to me. Even though they're only 4 years younger than me, I thought of them as, babies, and I try to take them under my wing. So, getting to see them just kind of blossom throughout their playing career at Bryan was really the cherry on top. And some of those, those girls I'm still friends with today. One of them is actually a high school coach. And, she calls me and texts me all the time to, get advice and different drills and, what they can do better as a team. So it's kind of cool to see the growth that they've experienced, not only as players, but now as coaches as well.
What was that experience like for you as an assistant coach at Bryan?
It was good. I would say, it was really an easy transition because obviously I knew the coaching staff. Our head coach had coached me my senior year. And so, like, I knew him, I was comfortable with him. There wasn't like an awkward, like, get to know you kind of dynamic at first. I felt really comfortable, talking to him about volleyball and anything under the sun, honestly. And so it was a really good, smooth transition for me. He made me feel really welcomed and made me feel that my opinion mattered, regardless of if I was the assistant or not. Like, he always took my thoughts into account and, asked me, deeper questions on, different items of business, like, volleyball or anything throughout the day, honestly. And so it was a good experience for me to be able to work under him.
What was that transition like for you, transitioning from being assistant coach to then taking over as head coach?
That was a little bit tougher. I never wanted to be a coach. Definitely not a head coach at the collegiate level. Whenever I took over, our head coach had stepped down to go pursue other opportunities. And so naturally, my AD asked me, "Hey, do you want to interview for this job?" And I was like, no. At the time, I was 26 years old, pregnant with my daughter, and I felt like I didn't have my life together, like I was a child myself. So in my mind, I was like, how am I supposed to run this program and take care of all these girls when I am barely a child myself, about to have a child? So it was rough. I did not want this job, and so at the time, my AD. He named me interim for the time being, and went on their national search for the next coach for Bryan College. They weren't able to find anyone that fit the needs of the team or the needs of the program. And so a couple months later, my AD came back to me and was like, "Hey, I really think you need to interview for this job." And I was like, "Are you sure?" Like, he knew I was pregnant. I was due with my daughter in July, and we had to be back on campus in August. So I was like, "I can't do that. Like, that's crazy. You're crazy for even thinking I can do that." And he's like, just go through the interview process and see how it goes. And I was like, okay. So went through the process, and they asked me 2 days later. It was like, "Hey, we want to hire you." And I was like, "Are you crazy?" Like, I laughed in my AD's face because I thought he was joking. And he's like, "No, I'm serious." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So, I had to do a lot of praying. I prayed and I was like, "If God, if this is really what you want for my life, you need to make it crystal clear, because I don't feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not qualified." Like, I'd never been a head coach at the collegiate level before. Like, my resume sucked compared to some of the other resumes that they received. And I was like, "Why did y'all choose me? I don't understand." Um, but they trusted me, and now I just finished my ninth season here as head coach. So it's been crazy, very unconventional way of becoming a head coach, but it's been fun.
What was that feeling like once you got announced to be a head coach and step onto that court for the first time as a head coach?
It was nerve-wracking to say the least. Our previous head coach was awesome. He broke a lot of records for our school, won a lot of championships, and it was very hard for me because I was like, that's some big shoes to fill. So, during that time, I was trying to figure out, like, how can I help someone that's, never coached a college team before, doesn't have, a great resume, like, what can I do to help this team succeed? And so I decided to focus on culture and focus on how we can become a family and, love each other and be successful in that aspect rather than just, I guess, wins on the court.
What was that like rebuilding the culture and starting the culture?
It was hard. I would say at the time we had some girls that, didn't really care about the team. It was more, selfishness and they just cared about themselves and, awards that they were going to get or stats they wanted. And so it really took the first 3 years of my head coaching career to really kind of change that mindset and change that culture to more of a family aspect. And obviously, volleyball is a team sport, so you can't do anything just on your own. And so I really had to let the girls know, like, hey, we're doing this together. Like, everybody has a part to play, everybody has a role to play, and we need to do it together. And so, we changed the, individualism and selfishness to more of a team atmosphere and a family atmosphere. And it's been great ever since.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you compete against?
We have one of the largest conferences for volleyball in the NAI, and we are in the Appalachian Athletic Conference. Some of our closer teams that we play is Tennessee Wesleyan, Reinhardt, Union, Milligan, those type of teams. And then our furthest team that we play is St. Andrews in Laurinburg, North Carolina, which is about a 8-hour bus trip for us. So we're kind of spread out all the way around here.
What is that home game atmosphere like when playing teams like Tennessee Wesleyan versus going away to University of Pikeville?
Yeah, so it's fun. So Wesleyan is our closest opponent, and so naturally it's become more of a rivalry. So it's a really good atmosphere to have the girls play in our gym against them. I would say it's we have a lot of support from our students on campus and the community as well. So it's a good fun atmosphere to play in, and then going on the road is always tough, regardless of where you're going. Playing in someone else's home gym is a lot tougher than playing in your own home gym. So, we do have some teams that we don't enjoy going to because their gym atmosphere is so great for them and not for us. So it's definitely harder to play on the road, but we definitely love getting our home games in when we can.
What is that atmosphere like when going on the road to teams like U Pikeville?
Yeah, UPike they're new to our conference this year, so it's a little bit of a haul for us. Think it's about 5.5 to 6 hours on the road. So just going there in itself, driving on the bus, that's kind of, not great. It's not a great trip for us to go to. But playing there, it's good atmosphere. They have a great support system. Their crowd's always awesome and heckling us. And so that's, all good collegiate fun. And so it's a fun environment to play in. And I used to love the crowds heckling because that would just motivate me more to do better rather than, not. So I think it's a great fun atmosphere.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play collegiate volleyball?
Yeah, so usually what I say is, if you are interested in Bryan College volleyball, we have an online recruiting form that you can fill out. A lot of times you can also email me and, send me your recruiting profile, video, all that good stuff. Um, and then we usually have the prospective student athletes either get on a phone call, Zoom, and then finally we'll have them on campus for a visit and then kind of see, where they're at, if they fit well into the team, if they like the team, if the team likes them, all that kind of stuff. And then once, we decide that they would be a good fit for our program, we then send them an offer and then hopefully they commit.
As a head coach in alma mater, what is it like seeing those freshmen put on that uniform for the first time and the seniors putting it on for the last time?
It's really special, I would say, because we spend 4 years with these girls. So seeing them put it on the uniform for the first time is really cool in itself. That they're excited about it. They're excited to play, at a college and be able to continue their, their playing careers here at Bryan. And then, putting it on and taking it off for the last time is always bittersweet. You as a coach, I think it's my job to send them off and, become better humans. Yes, I want them to succeed on the court and be the best possible volleyball players they can be, but it's not just about volleyball. I want them to go on and become successful, and everybody has their own definition of success. And mine is that they become better humans, better people, better, daughters to their parents, better, wives to their future husbands, and better mothers to their future children. If I've done that for them, then I've done my job as a coach. And so seeing them, take off that uniform one last time is always bittersweet. There's always usually some tears in the locker room, because Bryan College has been where they've spent their past 4 years, and they've made some great memories. And so being able to see them grow from their freshman year through their senior year is always really special, and to see how they've, blossomed not only on the court, but also as people off the court and, in the classroom.
What is that like as a head coach, seeing them go on to playing professional volleyball?
Yeah, so we generally don't have many go on to play professionally here. We're a small NAI school, mid-level, and I just encourage girls, if that's something that they want to pursue, to continue working. There's a lot of different avenues to be able to go on to play professionally with all the new leagues starting. The pro leagues around the country. I think it's been a great thing for collegiate volleyball players to be able to continue their playing career if that's something that they want to do. So I could, encourage them to just keep working on refining their skill, getting better, working on, jumping higher, hitting harder, all those types of things to be able to do that.
What are some of the things that you've been able to accomplish so far, and what are some of your future plans for the program moving forward?
Yeah, so this year wasn't the greatest year for us on paper. We had a rebuilding season, to say the least. It wasn't great, but previously we had been, making it to the opening round of the national tournament. Top 3 to 5 in our conference, and so I would like to see us get back there and then ultimately get back to the national tournament. Our goals this year, just with the rebuilding season that we had. I just want us to, get better overall. We're doing a lot right now to refine our skill, refine our technique, just going kind of back to basics to be able to just get better, honestly. And so we've been in the weight room, in the gym, working, really hard to be able to do that. And so our goals next year, I want to be top 5 in the conference, to be able to make it to our conference tournament, and then also make it to the national tournament.
What advice would you give those freshmen entering their first year of college volleyball?
I would say that's a good one. I'd say to ex- just have a good experience. Don't be afraid to try new things. I don't honestly, if I didn't, if my mom didn't make me leave the island, I probably wouldn't have left. I probably wouldn't have come to Dayton, Tennessee, and played volleyball here, and I probably wouldn't be a head coach here currently. And so I would just say to try new things, be open to different experiences, making new friends, and just soaking in as much of the college experience as you can.
What advice would you give those juniors transitioning into being seniors and leading the program?
That's a great question. We always rely, obviously, heavily on our senior class to lead. And I would say, as juniors, they're kind of getting into that role, being upperclassmen. And so I would say to just keep being leaders, keep encouraging. Freshmen tend to come in a little nervous and really unsure of themselves. So I would say to just keep encouraging the underclassmen, and making sure that they feel welcomed, and leading by example is the biggest thing. I think that those leaders can do, those seniors can do, is just leading by example, showing the team what it means to be a leader and how they can help others.
What advice would you give those seniors that have aspirations of playing professionally?
To just keep working hard, if that's something that they want to do, to keep working. You know, Professional athletes spend a lot of time in the gym, on the court in their respective sports. So, getting into the gym, getting touches, lifting weights, working hard to become the best possible player that they can be. That's something that, I definitely encourage those girls to do for sure.
What advice would you give those players that have aspirations of getting into coaching after their playing career?
I would say to become more of a student of the game, learning, you can never learn too much. So, becoming more of a student of the game, learning, the different aspects of volleyball, different, systems, blocking systems, defensive systems, offensive systems, really trying to get into, more statistics and things like that. Kind of the nitty gritty, the boring, I guess, boring part of volleyball. That'll definitely help in the long run. And then just being willing to learn from your coaches. I never thought that I would be a coach, and I, learned a lot just as a player. I suffered an injury my freshman year, and so I was kind of sidelined. And so just being able to see like my coach talk to the girls and kind of seeing the other side of I guess the bench really, I was able to learn a lot. And then so I would just encourage girls to learn from your coaches, ask questions. I would, be glad to answer any questions. And then having girls, that just makes me feel like you're more engaged as a player if you're asking questions and you're wanting to learn. So ask questions and don't be afraid to just learn from your coaches.
What advice would you give those head coaches that are looking to build their own program and build their own legacy?
I would say probably just don't stick to the norms. Like there's a lot of like X's and O's and black and white things, but be willing to try new things. And it's a learning process. Like I think everybody can do it their own way, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. Um, and just being willing to try different things. I've tried so many different things in my past 9 years, and some of them have worked, and some of them have failed miserably. So being willing to try new things and experiment and just become the best possible program that you can be is what I would recommend.
What advice would you give those coaches looking to go back to coach at their alma mater like you have?
I would say to just be open to it. I never thought, like, as a player here at Bryan, I never thought that first I would even become a head coach, let alone here back at Bryan College. I never thought I would live in Dayton, Tennessee. Being from a bigger city in Hawaii, I was a city girl at heart, and I wanted to live in a bigger city and do that, but don't never say never. And I would encourage you to, if that's something that you want to do, to just reach out to your alma mater. And, they're always, I'm sure, they're always willing to engage with alumni, and, they want to, give back and be able to have them come back to their alma mater. So just reach out and see if that's an option.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the program at?
Yeah, our Instagram is BC Lions Volleyball, and then we're on Facebook at Bryan College Volleyball as well.
Thank you again, Coach Jessica Day, for your interview, and best luck in your future.
Thank you so much, Brandon. I appreciate it.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brain, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Jessica Day, for your interview, and best luck in your future.
Thank you so much.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.